Awesome. Welcome. Hello, everyone. My name is Keisha Wilson, and I am the CEO of Design Her Queendom, where I help high achieving women reprioritize themselves while managing the demands of career and the responsibilities of home. And tonight, I want you to help me welcome my guest and author friend, Tanisha Portier, to the community. Hi, Tanisha.
Hey, Keisha, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very, very grateful. I'm very thankful to have this opportunity to be on your platform this evening.
Awesome. I'm so excited. And I'm so just thrilled to have you here talking about the topic that we're going to discuss tonight. And so let me tell you a little bit about Tanisha. So she is an author, a speaker, actress, voiceover artist, spiritual intuitive, vegan chef, and creator of the Fruit and Veggie Mama, which is a global traveling and entertaining company designed for promoting plant-based and vegan food in a fun, non-traditional, creative, and interactive way. Now, she is a promoter of self-care and inner confidence. Tanisha is a meditation coach and facilitator, and she specializes in multiple passionate, holistic practitioner, and she is a life coach. She is committed to helping people reach their highest level of self and live a healthy, holistic, and empowered life. If that's not enough to tell
I don't know who that is.
Totally qualified, right? Totally qualified to speak on this topic. So I am super excited, right?
Oh, wow. Keisha, listen to that introduction. I'm like, that's huge. Now, how do I follow up with all of that? Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So, Tanisha, tell me how you got here, leveraging what you love. How did you know that this was a topic, something that we need to discuss for such a time as this?
Keisha, I think the introduction of the multiple things that you've mentioned actually got me to this point where I am in life. And the reason why I think it's so important to talk about leveraging what we love is because we live in a world where we are, trained to do what's right, what's, what we are, our day-to-day jobs and things like that. And sometimes we don't always have the love for them, but it's the things that we need to do. And when I found out my passions and the things that I really loved, I was like, oh, I like this and I can find a way to get paid for it. And so when I tapped into one talent, it led to another and another and another. And so that's when I started to just say, hey, these are things that I can actually maximize and profit from them.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So the thing that made me want to like sit down and have this conversation with you is that we talked about before that I work with high achieving women who are reprioritizing themselves because they live such personally and professionally demanding lives, right? So women in my community, they do this, but during the course of them managing all that they do, their roles and responsibilities, they can often like squeeze out prioritizing themselves and the things that they love. And so what do you have to say to a woman who has maybe forgotten or become disconnected from her natural gifts and talents?
Yeah, so that's a really, really great question. And I can just say, I wrote some notes down here because I wanted to make sure that I touched on a couple of things. Okay. And, for the woman that has really kind of drifted away from her natural gifts and talents, it's almost a part of life. It's something that we all go through. We know that when we're a child, when we're little, there's some things that we love to do, and then life happens. You get a job, go to school, you take care of business, and you become that person that you need to be, that society has called us to be. And in all of that goodness, we forget about ourselves, our first love, and so when that happens, I like to say that we have to get back to the map. And what I use that as a map as an acronym is because when we're in such a high demand where we need to do the things that are necessary, because those are all important, but to kind of squeeze back in the things that we like, we have to make sure that when we are getting back to that point, we take care of our mental health, our physical health, and the M is for the mental health. The A is for, oh, I wrote it all here. The A is for the abilities to achieve the personal goals and the abilities. And then the P is for the physical health. And then the S is for the satisfaction in life. That's to live the passion and purpose. And so when we stray away from those things, we start to, lose that satisfaction in life. And so either we're pissed off or we're going to live in passion and purpose. And so the thing is that when we come back to that, for the ladies that have kind of strayed away, the way we come back is we want to make sure that we can try to map ourselves back by figuring out our mental health first. What do we really love? What are the things that we like to do? Blend it in and harmonize, because I don't like to say balance, but I like to say harmonize. And then think about the abilities, think about the natural things that we are able to do, that we're able to achieve, that are easy. And then take our physical self into consideration, because when we're not doing what we want to do, ladies, we kind of get down into a funk and we kind of forget about ourselves, and the little things start to drop off. So we want to be mindful of that. And so when we can get those things back together, then we can start to live that satisfaction and say, oh, I remember the last time that I had, a wonderful time doing this. It was such, a beautiful experience. I want to get back to more of what I love. I feel alive when I'm doing it. I feel passionate. And so you now begin to live in that passion and that purpose again. So mapping yourself back to that is really going to be important.
I love that. I love mapping back to yourself and mapping back to what you love. I love that. So is there such a thing as too much of a good thing, right? Where your natural gifts and talents and you've been utilizing them. However, what was once like a superpower has become kryptonite. So how do you rekindle that passion and self again, say after burnout?
Okay, I like that two-part question. So the first part, is there, really such thing as, too much of a good thing? Well, here's the thing. When you think about a good thing, I like to say there's always two parts of this. There's nothing too good to happen. There's nothing too good to come true. And there's nothing too good to last. So the good thing about having those natural gifts and talents is they were given to you for a purpose, and it's supposed to be utilized. Now, when it's too much of a good thing is when we overuse. That means that we're using our talents in a way that we get exhausted. So we're working, trying to make it, but we are exhausting ourselves because we don't have a strategic plan. And so we are giving our talents here, giving our talents there. And a lot of people love your talent until they have to pay for it. And so you get exhausted and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this speaking engagement here. And, and I like my coach, Jasmine Womack, she had mentioned that, when we use our gifts and our talents, but the thing is, we have to know how to leverage it, because if we don't, we'll end up getting fruit baskets and a $25 gift certificate. And you've spent all this time trying to do that good thing to tell people how good you are with your gifts and talents. And you get rewarded with, just something very simple. And you're like, man, I know that, I put more time and effort in that. So we have to make sure that we're strategic when we are leveraging our gifts and our talents, and that when we utilize those, we are maximizing those to the ability that we're able to gain and earn income, so that we don't feel burnt out. So we don't feel like we're going in circles again. Now, for that two-part question is how that burnout starts. That burnout can actually happen again with that direction. So when we're trying to do too many things at one time. So, and I always say you can have it all, but not all at one time. So you can't spin every plate. You can't bounce every ball. So as an artist, and as a chef, and as, all of these things that I was like, oh, I can do this. Oh, wait a minute. Now let me do this. And I'm like, wait a minute, let me pull it back. Let me pull it back. Just because you're so gifted and talented, it's almost like, okay, step back, figure out the one or two things that you're really, really good at. Focus on that, and then bring it down to one, because we really want to focus on that one thing, because you can get burnt out trying to do so many other things at one time, or that one thing and then a lot of other things that are really pulling at you and you're saying yes to too many things. So doing that one thing, focusing on that, Scaling it up, that means refining your gifts and your talents, working on them, getting better at it, spending hours and hours studying, researching what can you do best to be an expert in your field. And that way you're creating a momentum.